All right, let's just start there. Uh, awesome, cool. Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining. A big shout out to Arimoro for taking time out to do this today. This is a part of a series that we call Coffee and Code. The idea here is we work closely with a bunch of creators who create technical content around open source projects on Aviyel. And today we have Arimoro with us to talk us through the topic getting started with Typesense Dashboard. If you've been an open source developer, chances are that you've heard about Typesense already. And Typesense is a open source search engine alternative to Elasticsearch and Algolia. It has federated search features and it's kind of successfully carved out a niche in the enterprise ecosystem. Typesense is one of the projects that we've onboarded onto Aviyel, and we're supporting heavily with by building content around Typesense, as well as working very closely with the maintainers to build the community. Today, I think we're going to go through the Typesense dashboard in depth. Arimoro is a in-house creator at Aviyel who's been working with the community very closely. So just a little background about Arimoro. He's an electronics engineer who's also been a technical developer. He has expertise in CSS, JavaScript, and has been working with the Aviyel community to create content on Typesense. So he spent a lot of time with the project. So the focus on this conversation is just to kind of get a sense of Typesense dashboard. So yeah, Arimoro, thanks so much for taking time out for this. Feel free to start whenever you're ready. Thanks.
Hello everyone, can you hear me? Hope I'm audible. Yeah, so my name is Olamilekan. I'm a software engineer and a technical writer. I write for Aviyel. I write about the open source project, and currently I have an article that's been published already on Typesense, where I introduce beginners on Typesense dashboard and how to understand different parts and features of the Typesense dashboard. So briefly, Aviyel connects open source project to developers. So they have some on open source project onboarded where you can check. There are different open source projects you can check and integrate into your app. It's very easy to use. Nice documentation for most projects on Aviyel. So I would advise you can check it up on Aviyel website. So today I'll be discussing about the Typesense dashboard and how to get started with the Typesense dashboard. So at the end of today, you should be able to understand the Typesense dashboard and you should be ready to use it for your project. Yeah, I would like to share my screen also so that you can see the illustration and the different parts of the Typesense dashboard as I explain it. But before then, I would like to share the link to my article so that you can get the written version of this walkthrough. I will be sending it to the chat box now so that you can see and get to read it or follow through as we are doing representation. Okay, what is Typesense? Some people might, like some developers here or general audience, might not know the meaning of Typesense. Typesense is an open source search engine. It's a typo tolerant search engine where you can integrate into your app that gives you very easy and nice user experience. It makes it you can just pick up the documentation and read how to integrate into your app. There are different content on Aviyel website where you can read on how to integrate it. There are different content existing. More content are still coming up on how to integrate it. So Typesense is an open source search engine that is open source and it is very cheap and easy to use. You don't need to break a bank to create a search engine. So the experience is also very nice. And what do I love about Typesense? Number one thing I love about Typesense is the ease to learn and use it. When I remember the first time I tried to write the content about Typesense, I was afraid due to the previous experience I was having on open source on search engine generally, or other libraries I've used because of some libraries or libraries that I have integrated into my project. I've kind of had to learn some of them. They have I like the rate at which I can adapt to it is very high. But Typesense welcomed me the very first time I read documentation. It was very easy to write about it. Creating content about it shows that, yeah, I understand this particular library. So that's number one thing I love about Typesense. The second thing I love is the documentation. If immediately you read, the documentation is open source also. You can just, in case you notice something you would like to add to the documentation, there's on the documentation page, you can actually go to edit page, where when you edit to request, if you request to edit page, you can contribute to the documentation. Like I'm showing here, documentation is very nice and very easy to learn and understand. So that's number two thing I love about Typesense. And the third thing, the major thing is open source. That I can, like I've been saying, Typesense is open source. You can contribute to it. If you notice any updates you need to add to it, you can contribute to it and it will be added. So I think we need to, at this point, we can now dive into our the main topic for today, which is the Typesense dashboard and how to use it. Okay, this is the to access the Typesense dashboard, you need to go through the Typesense main website. So Typesense main website, like Typesense, this is the main website of Typesense where you can actually access the dashboard, and dashboard is the Typesense cloud. So when you click on it, you get access to come to the Typesense cloud, and you can log in. As we all know that developers, you need to use search engine, and every developer should have their GitHub username an account where they push their project to. So you can just log in through this link, through this button. When you click on this button, you'll be logged in and you have access to the Typesense dashboard, and you'll be able to do some other features of the dashboard. On this home page also, you'll see more details and more explanation about Typesense dashboard. You can see it's a lightning fast, a globally distributed and such as a service. So it's very nice. You can, and this is the look of the dashboard. When everything is created, you can search. This is the general look of how it looks like when you have created all important fields. You have created your document, you have created your collection, you see your schema and other interesting things on Typesense dashboard. So this is how it will look like. Also, there are other details of the maximum size of the RAM you can configure is 768 gig RAM. That's the maximum size it allows, and that's a very nice amount of RAM that it allows you to configure to. So that those are the very nice features of Typesense, and let's get into it. Let's get into it. So on the pricing page, apart from the pricing page, on this pricing page, this is where you have to dedicate your cluster. So the cluster is if you are creating, for example, you are creating a new project where you want to integrate a search engine into it, you need to create a new cluster or spin up a cluster. When you spin up a cluster, you now create a collection where you add your different records. So here on the pricing page, you will see where to add the memory size you want. The maximum, like I said earlier, was 768 gig. So when you click on 768 gig, the amount is 11.9. So that's quite cheap enough to use. That's not is not that, it's not expensive to actually pay for and implement in your project. So on the page, another feature I like on this pricing page, on this pricing page, is the ability to actually suggest the memory size, like recommending a memory size for your project. So if you have the number of your records you want to input, for example, if you have 100,000 records, so you can just click it, then it will suggest the RAM you will need, which is 0.5 gig RAM. If you increase the amount of records, it can tell you the range you need. So that's a very nice thing. So with this recommendation, it will be very easy to know what you need to in order to get started using Typesense. Other requirements are there, like what it offers, that particular amount you're paying. You see what you need to get with that particular amount you're paying for. So, and if you don't understand any other thing, or you need more explanation on what you need for your project, you can schedule a demo with the maintainers of Typesense. When you click on schedule a demo, you book a particular time and date on Calendly where you get to meet the maintainers. They explain better to you what you need for your to achieve your goal of integrating a search engine into your app. Yeah, so that's a very nice feature. I would advise you to actually book a call with them. Also, you can see the comparison with other search engine like Agolia, where you see the amount, the difference between the amount. You can see that it's very nice to actually use Typesense because it makes it easy for it. It makes you spend less money on achieving your same goal you can achieve using and more using other Typesense alternative. Also on this dashboard, we have documentation. So you have link to the documentation, like I said earlier, the documentation makes it very easy to use Typesense. It's very easy to use. Like you can is the documentation is also open source because Typesense is open source generally. So you can edit page. This edit page means you can actually add the contribution, your own contribution to Typesense, which will make it easy for you to achieve anything you want to see on Typesense. So you can suggest a new feature or just edit it if you notice any changes that needs to be made to the documentation. So just go through, like developers, I believe before you use any library or any tool, you need to read documentation, how it is used, how it is integrated, how it can be integrated, the advantages, disadvantages, and all other things the library or the tool has to offer. So as the so you can get it, so that you can get it right at first try, so that you can get how to use it right at the first try. Okay, also on our Typesense dashboard, also apart from the documentation page, there's also another amazing page called status page. This status page is where you get to see the status as you are running. So this is where you have not created a cluster yet, but this is where you get to see is the status of your cluster. I created one earlier, so this is where you tend to see the how it is running. You can see this one is running very fine, so you can get to see in case there's any issue. It will show you that yes, there's issue with it, and in case you are not good with lights or you want a very good light for you, maybe at night, you can use the dark mode also. This is also very nice. So, and another amazing feature on this page is that you can get update about the status, because you might not be chance to access your Typesense dashboard at every point in time. Maybe you're on transit or you're moving, or you don't have access to your computer generally. You can get updates by signing up to your mail, Slack, webbook, or you can use one of the, I believe one of these options will work fine for you. Yeah. So that's a very nice update. That's a very nice feature here on this page. So I would advise you to check this page. Just sign up, register with your email. I believe you enjoy it. Another amazing Another amazing page is also the account page. I'll go to the clusters page because that's where we are dwelling majorly in this session. So this page, you can add your payment method. So you can add your card if you like to add your card in order to pay to get dedicated clusters. So you add your card on that page. You can add your card. You see what currently I'm using the free version, which is $0. So I'm not paying any amount to use it for a try. And that's very nice because to try it out and see what you want to use, you can actually use the free version first. Then when you see that this is fine, I think that will convince you to actually pay in order to use Typesense. And I'm sure everyone that has tried the free version ends up paying or subscribing for the premium and the more and to get more dedicated clusters. So that's about this account page. You get to see your details and your name. Yeah, the next page well on majorly is when you need to create a new cluster. So in this cluster, when you spin up a new cluster, when you spin up a new cluster, you can actually have access, like we saw on the home page, where you can have access to create new collection, where you can have access to create new documents you want to search through, where you can have access to delete, create synonyms, do curation, do all other features, and we'll be doing one. If you create a new cluster here, immediately you click on this button, it will spin up a new cluster where you see the default for a free version, where you see the default options you have, where you see the number of the memory size you have access to, which is 0.5 gig, and you will see the Typesense version you are using. Currently, you are using Typesense version of 0.21.0. Yeah. So this is where you get to see the details of the cluster you're about to spin. Then the next thing is to launch the cluster. So it's very just a few clicks, you are getting to use Typesense. Yeah, this will take about 4 to 6 minutes in order to get the home page to see, activate, make all these features at the sidebar show. So and you see the configuration at this side. You can see 0.5 gig RAM, space, memory, access to regular SSD, and other configuration. And when you spin up the cluster, yeah, this will take about 4 to 6 minutes in order to create a new cluster, as said here. Okay, so when you go through this means, it will take 4 to 6 minutes to get done. But before then, we can go back to use the cluster I created earlier. I created a cluster earlier session. So this is the cluster here. I think we need to use that because of time, but you still have 4 to 6 minutes in order to spin that up. You can see the one I created earlier. So when you finish creating your cluster, this is how you see the home page where you get to use other features. So you can generate your API keys for people that want to integrate into their apps. You generate your API keys. When you click on generate API keys, you downloaded where you see your API keys. And there are several articles on Aviyel website. I would advise you to go on the website. The URL will be pasted to the chat box where you can see where you can actually see the content you have created on how to integrate it. There are content on how to create. I pasted the link to the chat box. So when you go there, you see the link on how to integrate it using the API keys you have generated. So the API key has been generated. Then next thing now is to actually dive into how Typesense works, like how to search, how to create a new collection. You can see our cluster is working fine in service, is very healthy to use, and the current space taken in the memory is 0%. The used memory is 156.6 MB. So to get started, click on the new collection. When you click on the new collection, Typesense makes it very easy for user to use because almost every feature you click on or every option you see at the sidebar has a predefined or a sample way of that you can copy or modify. It has a sample you can modify in order to get started. You can see this is a new collection, and this new collection can be called the collection schema. And the schema, some developers here have used Typesense, they have used TypeScript, sorry, and you get to define type for your different variables or anything you are creating. So here also you can this guides your document you are creating. It guides what you want to search through. For example, we are creating this new schema, and the name of the schema is called companies. When you create the company schema, it has different fields. The schema has the three particular options. It has the name, it has the fields, and it has the default sorting field. So this name is the name of the collection. The name of this collection is companies. So you want to create the companies collection. And here, the name of the company will be here, which is this company name. And it has the type of string. So, but Typesense also offers a new update. It has a new update that came with the version 0.2. Yeah, that came with the version 0.2, where you need to, where Typesense auto detects the type of your document. So if you are creating a new collection, you might not really know all the fields you want to create at once. So all the fields you might want to create at once, and Typesense makes it easy that even when you just do auto detection, so it detects the type of document you are creating. But that's the second option we'll do. So let's use this predefined one that has been created already. So the type of the company name is string. The number, the second field is the number of employees we have in the company, which is in an integer form. So it's not in a string form. If you create it in a string form, you just change it to string. But now it is an integer form, so you just do integer and you put 32, yeah. So the 32-bit integer. And the various data types we have on Typesense, we have the string, we have the boolean, we have the 32-bit integer, we have 64-bit integer, we have float, and we also have geopoint. Yeah, those are the data types that are currently present on Typesense. So after creating the number of employees, another thing I want to create is the country the company is located. So this is how our document or what you want to search through will look like. So you can also add another option. For example, I want to add the role of the employees. I might just add roles here. And rows will be in string format. Then some might be wondering what this face set means. Okay, this face set is just to help your search. So immediately you put this face set to true, when you are searching through documents, you can actually filter based on this face set field. So you can actually, since it's written as true, it will be easy to click on when you want to search, this search has not been activated already because I've not created a new a collection. So immediately you put it to true, you can actually pick it as an option to search for your document through your document. So it makes it easy and give you a better search result. So that's why I'm putting this facet. You see the better, you understand it better when we are trying to search through a document. So we have our company name, we have our number of employees, we have our roles, like the roles of employee. So that's very nice, and the location the company is located. So the next thing to do now is to create a collection. And also here you can see that you can read the documentation. When you click on this link, like maybe you're having like you're not understanding it better. So you can actually click on this link in order to understand it better. Okay, sorry, there's a mistake here. Okay, so we have created a new collection. So you can see it has been created successfully. When it has been created successfully, the next thing is to, you can see the search has not been activated because this is just to show us how our document will look like. Then if you click on this schema is to check the collection you created, it's collection schema, how it looks like. You can see how it looks like. The name is companies. We have 4 memory strands there, which is our country, roles, number of employees, and the company name. Okay, so those are the 4 memory strands it has, and the default sorting field, which is number of employees. Yeah. So this is where you view the data type of the different fields you want to search through. The company name string, the number of employees integer, the rows string, then the country string also. Yeah. So let's go on to create our new document. So when you click on add new document, you can see that this new document is following the pattern of the collection we have created. You can see the company name is a string value because we have created a string data type. We added a string data type to the collection. So let me add a company name. Let me add Aviyel, a company name. Sorry. Let me put number of employees as 500. Let me just put rows. Let me put the row. Let me just put open source. Sorry. Let me put open source as 0. Yeah. So the country it is located, let me put India. Let me create another company, let me call it Google. So you can see following the pattern of what I created, the number of employees is integer. So you can put 500, let me not 500 employees, then put IT as the country, let me put USA. Yeah. So let's create this. You can see in this option, we'll try out all options that we have that are available here, which is the create, upstart, and the update. The create is to create and launch a new document. The observative want to add to the created document. Update want to update an existing. Maybe I want to change Aviyel to 1,000 employees. So we'll try that out later. Let's first launch our new document. You can see every page we have a link to the documentation on how to understand it better. So that's a very nice and fantastic feature from Typesense. So when you click on add, the 2 companies have been added, and you can see success. You got a message of success. So when you go to, you can see that the search field has been activated now, where you can search through the documents I've created. These are documents I've created. You can see Google, you can see number of employees as 500, you can see the role IT, the country, and the ID. It gets the ID at default. So when you search through it, you can see when you search Google, when you search through Google, you have gotten Google already. So that's just number one. Like that was the basic implementation. And I mentioned something about facet the other time. So the fields we added facet as true too. When you click on it, you have access to the field there. You have the face for the role field, the facet is true. For the number of employees field, the facet is true. For the country field, the facet is true. That's how you have it here. So when you click on the roles, so when you click on, okay, let's use number of employees. I think that's still very easy to filter by. So when you click add number of employees, so instead of searching, you can actually use the number of employees to get your search results. Where you get to filter. Sorry. Sorry. So when you create the facets, a minute, you can click facets, but you can click the roles. So maybe the role is IT. You can see under IT, let's use the role. Under IT, we have just one company. Under open source, we have just one company. You can see the very nice, nice beauty the facet is adding to the search results. So let's go on. I mentioned something also about having a dynamic or auto detection schema where you don't need to, like, when we created the new collection schema, we're adding we're adding our type, we're adding the name of the field. In this case, you don't need to add it. Just create your document and it automatically detects it. So let's try that out and see before we get to see what the synonym means, curation, meaning of aliases, and all of that thing. So let's try that out under creating a new collection. So you have two options of creating the collection by yourself and putting the data types statically. That's if you know the number of documents that will be in your search results, in your search field. But in the case where it might grow and you might need to like auto detect it, like Typesense might need to help you auto detect it. So let's create for that option now. So let's delete this, or we can leave it like that, but I would like to delete it so that it can everywhere can be neat again. So let's delete, and once you delete it, it can't be undone when you delete your collection. So when you click on OK, it can't be undone. Yeah. So you can see that now it has returned to the default way of how we started, of creating a new collection. So when you click on new collection, now since it is an auto detection way, there is a link on the docs. To understand it better, you can check the docs also on how to understand the auto detection way better. But in this way, in the field, so for the name of the field now, you can actually put, to make it auto detect it, you can put an asterisk, then you, sorry, a dot, then you put an asterisk here. It auto detects it automatically. Say for this type, you also put auto for the type. You don't need to put string, integer, or anything. It auto detects it immediately by itself. So mainly we put auto for it. Then number of employees also you can put the same thing also. Yeah. You can put a dot and a star also on it like the other one. And you put auto. Then you set, and one thing about using this auto detection is that the facet is not true at default. The facet is not true at default. So you need to set the facet to true. Apart from that, you put an underscore here where you need to add facet to it. So that the facet will be set to true. Or let us refresh so that we can see how it works at default. Sorry. So that you can see how it works at default. For the country also, we can just put the country, then let's for the name and employees. So when you create, let's remove this default sorting field. It's not a require like a compulsory requirement in order to create a new collection. These are the two compulsory ones that you need to add in order to create a new collection. So when you create a new collection, sorry, okay. Since we are not setting to facet, I told you facet is not enabled at default. It's until you add this underscore facet that it will work. But since there's no underscore facet, that tells it that this facet needs to be set to true. And the reason is because the memory size is taking, like it's eating a lot of memory. So that's why it is not enabled at default. So when you create a new collection now, the new collection should create one field named star. Okay, this is another important. I'm coming. Sorry. Let's use this as number of employees. Let's try it out with one field as the instruction is telling us. Let's use int 32. As the instruction said that we can just have one field named star. Yeah, it has been created now. So it auto detects in the first field. So when you check the schema, you can see that this auto now, this first one, you can give it a name of your choice. It auto detects the type of the field. So let's add a new document. So here you can add country name. Sorry. We're using company. So let me add the company name as Aviyel again. Let me add the number of employees to 600. Let's just use our same 500. Let's put the country to the same, the way we did it initially. It is India. Then this second one, let's put Google. The way we did. Let's put 1000. Then this country, let's put USA. The way we did it. So you can actually launch or add this new document now. So when you add it, it has been added. So when you check your search results, you can see there's something I want you to see, like the meaning of the auto detection. If you check the schema, you can see that this country name, sorry, this, wait, I'm coming. This, oh, sorry, I think we have removed the, okay, I used country. Oh, the name of the company, sorry. Let me check that. Where is it? Yeah, this is it. Okay, index true, optional true, type is auto. Sorry, let me check that out. Let me check the documents. Okay, sorry. I'm very sorry. I made a mistake here, which is like, let's delete the documents I've created earlier. I delete by the ID, which is 0. Then when you delete it by 0, you can delete the other one too by 1, which is Google also. Okay, we have deleted our documents now. So you can see the search has been, there is a mistake in add document. Since it is auto detecting, let us add the name of our company. Let's do company here. Company name. Let's put Google. A number of employees. Let's try it out with one and see how it goes. Let's try it out with one. Let's put 1000. Then in our country, let's put USA and add to create. Yeah, you can see that the company name is already Google. And if you check the schema, yeah, is you know, it is auto. You can see the company name we created. It is carrying a type of string that is auto detecting that string. If you create a new document and you put company name, like for example, number of employees, if you decide to make the number of employees, if you try to make it like an auto detection, like make it auto detect it, you can do it also. It will give you an integer, like an integer bit of 64. So it gives you an integer bit of 64 at default. So you can see where the auto detection comes in place. It gives you string, it detects it for you automatically, and it indexes it. I told you the phaset is set to false at default, so you need to enable the truth. But I want us to do something on the add documents page. I want us to update a particular document. No, at default you have just one created document, which is Google. So with an ID of 2, let's, like the way you update anything you want to update. So let's, sorry. Okay, so on the, the company name is now carrying a string value already. Since you have created a new document, it's carrying a string value already. So let's add an ID. We need to add the ID so that I can detect it. So let's add the ID. Sorry. The ID is 2, like we saw on our search results page. So if you want to update the number of employees to, let's say, 100,000, and the string value of country, let's say we want to change the name of our string value. Want to change the name of the country to UK. I want to add the company name, Untitled Chapter. No, we have just Google created before. Then you need to select the option of update because we are adding the ID. So when you click on update, it should, sorry, okay. The ID field must be a string format. So note that when you are updating your document. So when you add it now, yes, it has been successfully updated. So when you try to search now, you can see we now have Aviyel, 100,000 number of employees, ID of 2. That same ID Google was having before. And Upstart, you can use Upstart to actually add a new, when you click on Upstart, you can add a new company. Let's add more companies to our list. Let's add Microsoft. Country, let's add USA. Number of employees, let's add 50,000. Then let's add number of employees. Let's add 50,000 also. Let's put let's put country of UK. Let's put Facebook. So when you add it now, as it has been added, when you go to search result page, you see the new created. This has an ID of 4. Microsoft has an ID of 3. So you can see the nice way to search. Then you can actually search Facebook. When you search it, it gives you Facebook. So let's dive into other features of this. This is the basic implementation. So this is how you get access to it. I want to show us like the result of. I want to show us how like a particular app that's using Typesense to do their search. Like the Typesense documentation uses Typesense. For example, this is Typesense documentation. So the live implementation or the way Typesense works on this live project is if you click on this, if for example I want to search for fitset on this documentation, you can see this search was built by Typesense. You can see how it is easy to, so this is what you have access to in your app. You can see how it is very nice. Someone can actually go to this. You can see different section. You can see facet, any word called facet, and searching by that query, and it goes there, then you can use it. So that's a very nice way to use Typesense. So let's create another, this curation. If you click on curation now, let's use curation also. In a way, like, so for example, if you want to search, in a way you can make it easy for your users that if they search, for example, now we'll be using an example where we want to search for, let's just search for company. So someone can just mistakenly search for company instead of searching for a particular company name. So if someone search for company, I can include some particular fields to show up at first, like to show up on position 1 and position 2. So, and I will specify their ID. Let's confirm the ID names of the company we have created. If I go to search, we have Facebook ID for 3, Microsoft ID of 3, Aviyel ID of 2. So when I go to question and I'm searching by company, then I'll put the ID of, let me put the ID of 4 here. I want it to be on position 1. I want to put ID of 3. I want to make it, or let's use Aviyel, ID of position of 2, and it should be on position 2. If there's anyone you want to exclude from the search result, you don't want to use that, you can put the ID in the exclude array also. But let's put, I think the third one is ID of 3. So when you add the, and there's an option here where you can put the match to this company exactly, or if it contains it. So it has two options. It is that exact word of company, or it contains, or the word the user is typing contains it. So those are the two options. Let's use exact. Let's use exact and add the operation to it. So it has been added already. You can see what we have here. It has been added already, and this is the sample about, this is where you see it. So when you go to now, if I just search, if I just type company, you can see that Microsoft which has ID of 3 has been removed from the list, has been excluded. But Facebook and Aviyel has been added, shows up. You can actually try to create another where you hide hide Aviyel, you can make Facebook show to the user. So that's a very nice way because your user can mistakenly type just company to just check the companies that will pop up. Like I've used some apps where you just search for the wrong thing, or the word that is not there, there's not a keyword in the company name or anything you're searching through, and you can see that some results will just show up. So that's the nice feature curation is bringing to us. Also for synonyms, so you can try that out, and on the question page you can see link to documentation. Very powerful on documentation. You just check it, and if there's anything you notice on the page, you can edit the page where you request access to edit it. So let's check synonyms. So these synonyms works in two ways. You can, if you want to read up about it, just click the link also. You can have the one-way synonyms, and you can have the multi-way synonyms. The way this one way synonym works is that I can create, for example, if I search for a particular thing, if for example I make the root, let me create a root of product, or let's use product, and I search for, let's put let's put the default ones we have here. Let's search for pants, comma, and trousers. So you separate it to commas. So when you add it, I've added the synonym already. Yeah. So when you search for what was our, yeah, you can see that this is showing that default back, even though we added decoration already. Is when until when you add, when you type company, that Microsoft disappears. That Microsoft has disappeared. Okay, so for that synonym we have created now, the way it works, the one way is that when you search for that root name, what's our root name? Let me confirm that. Sorry. Synonyms, product. I'm trying to see something here. Let's create another synonym that is specific to this particular, to this one. Let's create let's use company name. There's something I want to try out. Company name, and let's use country. Or let's use the company name as Aviyel. Since we are searching through Aviyel, then use the country as UK. Let's use the root to company also. So it's company we are searching through. So when I search through company, oh sorry, decoration is on. Let me try to delete it so that you can see how the synonym works. You can see that Aviyel shows up for the synonym because we have created a synonym here that anytime I search for company, I want Aviyel to show up. So you can search word like there are synonyms. For example, if someone want to, like for product list now, if I want to search for probably if it was product collection I created, if I created a collection that was products, and okay, for example, if someone want to search for Microsoft, and the person, if on my search list I have Microsoft, which we have Microsoft now search list with Microsoft now search result, but the person mistakenly want to search with Apple. Really person, and let's put the location. I think yes, yeah. So immediately the person add it. Immediately you have added it to your as a synonym. If the person comes to search user and search for micro Apple, what will come out is Microsoft because you have set Microsoft as a synonym of Apple. So that means if Apple is not there, instead of showing not found, person is just suggesting to person that why not check up on Microsoft, why not check up on detail of Microsoft. So you can search, check, set it like that for different companies or for products. You can see that in the sample here, you can see that pants, trousers. So if for example a user wants to search for pants and it's just trousers you have in your product list, trousers come up to show the user that yes, we have this, but pants is not available. Instead of showing not available, it shows trousers. So that's the one way synonym works. But for the multiple way synonym, you don't need to declare a root. Let's delete all this. So you can try it out, check the docs for the ones you have tried. So let's check for the multiple ways. So let's create Apple, the one we don't have there. Okay. Let's create Apple, then Microsoft. But let me create, sorry, let me use Blender. Let me use other company we have. Let's use. Okay, I have Aviyel already. Let's use. Let's use Twitter. Okay. And immediately you add it. If you search for one of these, oh sorry, there's a mistake here. Let's try to. There's something I want to show us. Let's make this correct, Aviyel. So any if you search for Aviyel here, two will show up. The other two will show up, showing that they are synonym to Aviyel. If you search for Bloomberg here, Aviyel will show and Twitter will show. If you search for Twitter, Aviyel will show. But in this case, the only company name we have that is existing is Aviyel. So only Aviyel will show up if you search for Bloomberg. So let's try that. So that's multiple ways synonyms where you have three or more options. So if you search through one, the result for other ones will show. So that's a very nice feature that is also available. So when I search for Bloomberg, Avia shows up because it's synonym to this particular query I'm searching by. So Avia shows up immediately. I search with Bloomberg. So that's very nice. I think let's take a short break, about a minute break, before we check other features.
Hey, hey, hi. Awesome. Yeah, I think we covered a lot